you're on mute.
Well, good morning. I'm talking on mute, which is my favorite thing to do on Zoom. Just have like a long conversation where no one can hear you. Like it's all about lip reading. Otto, Sam, what's going on, guys? We're going to do something a little more casual this morning because our host, Ryan Smith, who is actually an incredible expert when it comes to launching your farm. I'm not sure if he's having technical issues. We have not seen him yet this morning. So I'm going to dive in, assuming he's going to be here momentarily. And if not, we will still talk about farms. But I want to see, Otto, if you are here specifically for learning about farms, or you just here because you show up for Agent Power Huddle no matter what. I want to kind of tailor this based on whatever you're looking for while we're waiting for Ryan. And Sam, same with you. What about you? Are you looking for specific info on geographic farming?
Yes. I actually farm an area now.
Perfect.
I actually slacked off, so liars always get caught. I just got caught. I farmed an area, and I just started getting back into it because within the past week, I got 3 phone calls from that farm. And they said, hey, you're a guy. And I just took 2 listings, and I have, I think, one more appointment May 10th. So I'm just leaving too much money on the table. Too many outside agents are coming in there. So I need to 100% dominate.
All right. Well, if you were changing your lighting in the background, by the way, or were you going to touch your blinds? I wasn't sure if you were standing up, but I'm going to bring you back to the table. Are you okay to chat for a minute?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to do something in the back of your room. I called you back to your desk. I was like, don't leave, Otto, stay here. I want to talk to you. Anyway. All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam, same for you. Are you looking to talk farming?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an existing farm or not a farm yet?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, perfect. So here's my plan. If Ryan shows up, then we will change gears and I will let him take it because he has a really cool launch formula. He's been coaching people on how to start farms for years, but I also know enough about geographic farming to be dangerous. And I'd rather just do a case study, Otto, since there's just 3 of us here live. I'd rather just talk to you about your existing farm, what we can do to tweak it, some things that I might be, helpful strategically. And Sam, if you've never launched a farm, what part of the world do you live in?
I live in San Jose, California.
Fantastic. Do you have a neighborhood identified that you would like to target in San Jose?
There are a couple of them are there. I need to figure out which one I can farm because others are farming already.
Yeah. So here's what I want you to do then, Sam. Listen as Otto and I have a discussion of his existing farm because you're going to hear some things that'll probably help you as you decide what farm you want to identify and what to launch. And then I'm going to connect you up, Sam, with Ryan Smith, who is supposed to be our host today. And I'm guessing he's having, we literally talked to him yesterday, so he's probably having technical issues or something. I'm going to have you book a call with him offline to give you some specific feedback on picking your farm and launching it. Because he's probably the best person I could give you to give you guidance on that. And I'm sure since this is recorded, Ryan, since it was late today, I'm volunteering you to do a one-on-one call. Thanks, buddy. All right, Otto, you're happy. Well, to talk to Ryan also, but let's chat about your farm. So
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sam. But keep listening while Otto and I chat. Otto, tell me about your farm. Where is it? What part of the country and how many houses are in it?
So I'm in Heritage Lake, Menifee, California.
Oh, cool. I happen to know Menifee because I'm in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I know Menifee well. All right, so how many houses are in Heritage Lake?
3,340 homes.
3,304. I got to take notes as we go through this. Allison, welcome. I am filling in as the host because our guest host, Ryan, is having technical issues. So we are going to launch talking about a farm that Otto is doing in Heritage Lake, which is Menifee, California. Allison also, I know pretty well. She's got a farm too. So this will be a good discussion for us to have. All right. So Heritage Lake has about 3,000. How many did you say? 3,340?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Allison, how many homes are in your farm? I know you have multiple farms, but how many homes are in your farm that you?
The total is just under it's probably somewhere between 900 and 1,000.
900 and 1,000. Perfect. Okay, so you guys have similar-ish size farms, but Otto's is about 3 times larger, but still both very manageable. But some of the things you're going to do when you get over 500 or 1,000 houses, there are strategies that Allison can use that are more hands-on, that Otto at 3,000, depending on how much time and effort you're going to put in, your strategies might change because yours being 3 times larger, it's just going to take 3 times as much if you're doing things hands-on, right? How long have you been farming Heritage Lake for?
Well, I've only been in the business 8 years now.
Okay.
And I started farming it since, I guess, 8 years, but not really farming because Yeah, I used to be the dominant agent in there, and then I got too cute to where I thought I don't have to farm no more.
Okay.
And, sometimes ego gets in the way. And yeah, trust me, the older I get, the more I learn. Um,
So that is a highly self-aware statement, which I love. So you've been in the business 8 years. When were you the dominant agent, and what were you doing at the time when you were the dominant agent?
well, it's funny because about 2 years ago, I drive I have cars. I got a car problem. So people would always notice me for the cars, and I have this really big lifted black dually. So I was everywhere. I lived in the community. I used to live in the community, and I moved out 3 years ago, but people would constantly see me. So I would send every month, I would start send my posts, my just listed, just sold. And it was, my phone was ringing, but not like it should have.
Yeah. So that's all right. So I love this auto. And by the way, Ryan Smith, our host, is here now. It's all right, man. You catch your breath. I'm gonna fill you in what we're doing, and then we're gonna decide how to change gears. We got 20 minutes left, and I'm really inclined to let Ryan take it over, but I want to close the loop on what Otto just laid out there. So Ryan, I don't know what you had planned for this morning, but I'm gonna tell you what Otto just told me, and here's what we got so far. The people we have live on the Zoom, we got Sam, who's in San Jose, California, who has not launched a farm but is thinking about it. And if you watch the recording, I said really close. I said, Ryan owes you a free call, Sam. Anyway, so I told Ryan to get a one-on-one call about launching his farm. So give him whatever info you want, Ryan. I'm sure I knew you'd be happy to talk to him offline. All right. Allison has an existing farm. She's about 900 to 1,000 houses in, I guess, LA Ventura area. Ryan's from Canada, so I'll close enough for Ryan to know where it is. And Otto's farm is Southern California, just north of San Diego, in a place called Menifee. He's got 3,340 homes. Allison's is townhomes. Otto, I'm assuming yours is single families, correct?
Correct.
Otto's been doing the business for 8 years. He was the dominant agent at one point in his farm when he used to live there. And he just dropped into the conversation. I already figured this was going there. He said, I used to live there, and doesn't live there anymore, but he moved out 3 years ago, and he was still getting some calls for a while. And he said he kind of like dropped the ball a little bit. He's very self-aware. So I don't know if you want to jump on this thread and run with that. If you have a presentation you want to do, you want to kind of weave it all together. I'm going to turn this over to Ryan, guys. Ryan is probably one of the most knowledgeable people on farms I've ever met. I know enough to be dangerous. That's why I was going to kind of walk you through some of this, but Ryan does this day in and day out. He is literally a coach. His program is called Launch Your Farm. He's not here to sell anything. Like, he's a buddy of mine, and he's here because he wants to add value. And he's one of the nicest guys I've met, and has a very different approach to farming that I appreciate. It's not the kind of the standard stuff. So Ryan, if you want to take it from here, I'll kind of drop the background.
Sure.
Wherever you want.
Thank Jesse.
I'm going to start by apologizing. I had it in my calendar at 11:30, and I am so sorry. So I'm glad you texted me. I was in the middle of a tech support chat, so I'm super sorry. I promise you I'll make it up to you, and I'll make sure you guys get some value here. So what I want to talk about was kind of a new format of a thing that I've been working on. We can kind of dive into that, and then I'll leave it to answer some questions and go through where you guys are at. So
Ryan, just so you know, if you have this down, so he's East Coast time, he had it down starting 20 minutes from now. If you still have that time open, I have to jump off in 20 minutes, but if you want to hang longer,
yeah, I'll stick around if you guys want.
You can literally stay if Otto, if you have a hard stop, Sam, Allison, like, this is your time, guys. So I'll hang there for 20 minutes, and then Ryan, you just run with whatever you want to run.
Happy to do that. Again, super sorry about that. I apologize. I'm not normal like that, so
okay.
I promise. All right, so basically what I've done is I've been doing this for a long time, and Jesse's mentioned this is what I do day in, day out. I am an agent. I've been licensed for 17 years. I love geographic farming. After many mistakes, after trying everything in the book, I've tried everything. A number of years ago, I did farming in a different way, and I looked at what was working. I looked at what wasn't working. I looked at what I tried, what failed. I was a productivity coach, and I was coaching agents, and I started seeing some trends and some things that were happening. And I then took all the things I learned over the years and actually applied it to my own farm. I'd never farmed in that area before. I was new, and we had a lot of success with it. So if you don't know, so I started the farm. I launched in September. We got our first listing appointment in December, and over the next 15 months, we did 17 transactions in an area that I had no experience in, no sales in, no area, no. I was new to the area, so it was brand new. What I did was I did things differently, as Jesse mentioned. I really took a different approach. And rather than try to just push my message down people's throats, I said, how can I get people to put their hand up? How can I get people to say, I want more information? How can I get people to connect with me and then get them into my database from the farm? So I've always said that my real farm is not the geographic walls of the area that I'm farming. It's the people in the database that I collect from that. So the more I can get into my farm, the better. So basically, over the last few years, I've been helping agents do what I've done and help them with that. And then what I started realizing is I started to see some patterns where agents were falling off track, or they just weren't getting started right, or they had pieces in place. And I developed this concept or this framework, and I call it the bridge blueprint. And it's really a way to look at your business when it comes to your geographic farm and say, what pieces are missing? What things could I build? What could I create a stronger base on? And if you think about a real bridge itself, if you have a bridge and you're missing a section of that bridge, utterly that bridge is useless. If you don't have a complete bridge from one side to the other, it doesn't matter how great, how wide, how big, how fancy. If you're missing a section of the bridge, it's not going to work. And the same thing goes with real estate farms or geographic farms. And I notice a lot of agents have built bridges, and they have sections of bridges. They've got parts of bridges that are there. They've got blocks that are awesome. And then there's pieces that are just missing, or it's like that piece is just too small. So what I did was I created this framework, and that's what I'm going to share with you today, what that framework looks like and the themes I've seen and what do those blocks look like and what are those kind of key things. And if you've ever read The Lean Startup, it's one of my favorite books. It's what got me launching what I'm doing. The whole premise is what's the minimum viable product? What's the bare minimum you need to do to get a product up and launched? So I took that concept and said, what's the minimum viable bridge that I would need to get from one side to the other? So Jesse, if you want me to jump in, I'll share kind of what that looks like, what the framework is, and we can just kind of.
I'm already loving this. Otto, you got the question so far? I saw a hand up.
Yeah, Ryan, what was that book that you said you love?
The Lean Startup.
Such a good book. And
it's what helped me launch what I'm doing.
I was messaging with Autumn. I know Gian, our other producer's not on here today, but I was saying, I love this bridge analogy. I love where you're going. By the way, this is why I love Ryan as a trainer. He makes things so accessible. So Allison, I'm glad you're here, because Allison and I talk about this stuff offline all the time. I'm already thinking of clips to edit out of this, what you're saying, Ryan, to put some little social media together in the background. So keep rolling this.
Yes. Awesome. So if you know me, I like analogies. I love, in high school, they call me the analogy king. So everything for me is, how can I compare to something relatable and understandable? So I took the bridge, took that analogy, and I started with, if you're building a bridge, you need to start on one side. You need a foundation. You need somewhere to start. Again, a floating bridge isn't going to be doing any good. So you have to have a base to start with. And what I did was I created my M words, and you need to start with your foundation, and that is your market. So where are you actually going to geographically farm? If you don't have that in place, there's no point in even farming. If you're not going to physically pick an area that you're going to go after, you have to start with a market. So who are you going after? What is the area? How many homes? How many people? That is the key foundation. That's where we want to start with. For a lot of agents, that's their biggest struggle. Their biggest hurdle is, where do I farm? And then because they don't ever pick a farm, or they don't lock in, they have nothing to start with. And it doesn't matter how great their other strategies are, if they're not actually doing it in a specific area, they're missing a lot of opportunities. So for a lot of the questions that I get is, how do I choose a farm? I'm not going to dive into that today because I want to kind of help you with the bridge analogy, but we can dive in after and discuss more on how to do that more. But really, we have to start with a solid foundation. That's where we're going to build off of. The next one is mindset. And when I was laying this bridge analogy out, I actually had mindset at the end, and I realized it's exact opposite of it. I need to put it at the beginning because it really matters on the mindset going into this. You have to have the right mindset around geographic farming. You have to have the right mindset around what it's going to take. You're going to have the right mindset on what will work in farming nowadays versus what used to farm or what used to work. A lot of agents have learned to do farming the way agents used to do it, or the way they've been taught for generations, that just don't work anymore. The strategies that people used to do, sending postcards month after month after month, just doesn't work. The things that people have done, I've coached agents who've been 30 plus years in the business who've come to me saying, I used to crush it 20 years ago. 10 years ago, it stopped working as well. 5 years ago, it just doesn't work. And now it's like my business is dried up. So we have to have the right mindset around what is success? What is it going to take to get where we want to be? And there's a few things we can consider in that, but we have to think long-term, but we have to act short-term. And the mistake that a lot of agents make is they sit in both or one of those and not both. You have to have a long strategic plan. You have to understand, okay, I'm committed to this, like a long-term relationship. A lot of people have that, but they don't do the did the day-to-day stuff that matters. It's like relationships. If you can say, I'm going to commit to marriage, but if you're not going to work on the marriage on a day-to-day basis, it's not going to work as well. But you have to take action as well. So you have to do things that are going to get you results in order to pay the bills, in order to get things moving. So you have to have that right mindset. So mindset is really important. And without that, again, you may get veered off track. You may not have the right things in place, and you may not get the results you want. The next block is, I call the message. That is, what is the message you want to get out to the world? What is it that you want people to find out about you? How are you different? How do you create value that's different than other agents? For most agents, they do the same things that every other agent does. They do the same message, the same thing, which is, I'm me, I'm awesome, I'm number one. They beat their chest, or they talk about just lists or just solds, and their message really sucks. And for our farm, when we started, our message was very different. We branded ourselves differently around the area. We were community focused. We were ambassadors for the area, and we really changed how people saw us. So you have to have a strong message that resonates, that connects with your audience, but also is going to be true to you as well. And it's finding that intersection of, who am I focusing on, knowing where your market is, what value do I bring to them, and what are they going to value as well. So we have to create a message that's going to resonate and really connect with them. The next one is the methods. And this is one of the biggest ones. This is the part that makes it all work. This is the, what strategies are you doing? What lead generation are you doing? What systems are you putting in place? What are the kind of methods you're doing to grow the business? And this is where a lot of agents fall off track, because they, again, the methods that have been taught historically just don't work like they used to. The things that people have been beat over their head with just are not effective. And a lot of times agents either go too big with their methods. They have too many things. They don't know sure what to do, or they do one method and it doesn't work at all. So you have to figure out, what is that minimum methods that I need to put in place to start to get results? And you go, okay, what are those things for my audience, for my message, for what I'm trying to do, for my goals? What is the methods that's going to help me get there? So figuring that out is, how do you actually build in those pieces into your business and then test it, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and work through that. And without strong methods, then again, doesn't matter your mindset, doesn't matter your strategies, or doesn't matter your market. If you don't have strong methods, you're going to be missing a lot of opportunities. The next one is manage. And this is the overall systems and tools that you're putting in your business. So what are you doing to follow up with people? What systems are you doing to run your business? What are you doing to keep everything organized? And the amazing thing is, in my experience, the simpler tends to be the better. A lot of times agents create these long, convoluted, high, over-the-top systems, and then they never actually go out and apply them. They never put them into play. Myself included. I've developed all these amazing things. I see Jesse laughing there.
I just wanted to see, we have a few people on camera. Raise your hand. Let's call yourself ever. Raise your hand if you're like immediately nodding your head when he's like, yeah, I make things complicated and I don't execute on the whole. Raise your hand, everybody. Besides, yeah, heads nodding.
We all do.
100%.
And sometimes it takes that scaling back and stepping back and going, okay, what is that simplest thing? What's that minimum viable product? What's that minimum bridge of going, okay, what's the thing that's just going to move the needle a little bit? And once we have that system in place, then we can always build off of it. But for a lot of us, we hide behind that perfection. We hide behind I have to have the perfect system. I have to have the perfect thing in place. I have to have all the processes in place before we go out and start doing that. So you figure out, what is it that you do that's going to move you to the next step without overcomplicating it. Then we can, again, dissect and work backwards and say what needs to be adapted, adjusted, and changed, and things like that. And then the last block is meet. And this is where we go out and what are we doing to actually get out in front and meet people? These are the value adds that we're doing. These are the relationships we're focusing on. These are the pieces of our business that are going to get people to want to work with us. Again, I've seen a lot of agents get all the way up to here and they get to the meet part and they suck. They've got great systems, they've got marketing, they've got a great message, but then they choke because they're afraid of going out and meeting people. They're afraid of, how do I get, what if I get to an appointment? What do I actually do? What do I do to get people to put their hand up? Why would they going to want to choose me? And they kind of psych themselves out. So the meet part is very important, because once we learn how to get people to meet with us, that's when deals start to come in. That's when the business starts flowing. And sometimes the meeting part is overlooked, but it's one of the most critical parts. And if you don't understand the concepts of how do we get people to put their hand up and connect with us, we're missing out. And at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. And Allison said, in person is the best. Exactly. The relationships is what really matters. So if we can connect with people, get in front of them, that's when we're going to start to have a much bigger and a stronger business. And then the last part, which is our destination, is mastery. So when we do this and we get to the bridge and we create that bridge, our ultimate goal is to get to the side of mastery. And that is the ongoing influence of what we're doing in our business. That's what we're doing to make sure we're focusing on the right things. That's adding in the right strategies. That's dissecting the bridge itself and going, okay, what can we do to add more value? What's missing? What can we add more of? And that mastery is where we want to be. But you'll never get to mastery without a bridge. And you'll never get to mastery without at least a minimum setup that way. So we have to make sure that we get there as quick as possible and as smoothly as possible and as easy as possible. And the one thing that I love about this business is that we have a huge opportunity in that we've got 100 years of experience in this business. And it's the same thing. Like, I mean, the strategies and the techniques that we do might change over time, but the process is still the same. It's you go out, you meet people, you find clients, you get them into the transaction, you close the transaction, and we have a very linear process of what happens. And we're not doing spaceships that need all these different moving pieces. We can go back and say, along that process, what are the steps that happen each way? And then go, okay, if we're getting bottlenecked, and that's one of the things I added in, is one of the important things is we have to look for the bottlenecks. What are the pieces or the areas that are holding us back? And when we understand the bridge, we can go back and find those bottlenecks and say, hey, this is where I'm being held back. This is the piece that's missing. I'm either maybe missing a complete entire block in my business, or there's a bottleneck there where I'm not as efficient or smooth as I can be. So then we can start adjusting and adapting and adding on. And when you understand that, that really creates a strong foundation for what we're doing. And I should have mentioned at the beginning that all of this is to, if you look at the bridge analogy, I have a design I'm creating right now. If you look at a bridge, you're trying to go over something. We're trying to go over water. And in my analogy, I call that the myths, the mistakes, and the missteps. When we build the bridge, we are trying to avoid the myths, mistakes, and the missteps that we do. The things that maybe we've been heard around farming, around the business, we want to avoid those. The mistakes that agents make that are common, or that we make that are common, or those things when it comes to missteps that are just off tangent or off track. Sometimes we do something and we misstep slightly. We feel like we're heading in the right direction, and all of a sudden, before you look back, you're completely off track. So we want to avoid those. And that, by having that strong bridge, it allows us to bypass this completely and get us to mastery. So that, in its nutshell, is the bridge. I'm going to share kind of 3 stages, and then I'll open it up for some questions and we can chat about it. Basically, what I look through is, like anything, I look for patterns. There's kind of 3 key phases where most agents are at in their business. So I call it the launch phase, which is everything getting up and running. So that's the first 3 M's. That's the market, your mindset, and your message. A lot of agents get stuck in that phase and they never make it out of that. They get stuck trying to figure out, who am I going after? What am I doing? How do I get in the right mindset? And that's the first phase that is really important to crack. And once you get that, that gives you that momentum. The next phase is your core. That is your message, your methods, the manage, and the meet. Those are the important pieces that are going to help move you to actually turn into transactions. And then the last phase is your growth phase. That's the mastery. That's where you take it from, I'm an okay agent, I'm doing okay in my farm, to really expanding and growing. And when you look at your own business, you should be looking at those phases and say, okay, where am I at? Even if you're not doing geographic farming, am I in that launch phase of my business? Am I in that growth phase, or am I in that core phase? And figure out where you are at, because that'll help you kind of figure out what sections might need work or what areas you need to have some help with. So I threw a lot at you. I chopped it down in a quick time because of timing, but that's the analogy, and hopefully it helps give you a little
that was probably a 45-minute presentation condensed down to 15 minutes. I could hang with it. I have a 4-minute hard stop, but I'm glad that you said you could go a little longer, because I can tell Otto has some questions, and Allison, I guarantee, has questions, because she has always asking me insightful things. Truly, Allison's wonderful. Here's my question for you. 2 questions. 3 questions, because I have 4 minutes. I got 3 questions. So number 1, when I leave, will you spend a minute telling Otto and Allison what they should be doing next with their farm? And Sam, if it's hard, for someone who hasn't launched it, if it's too hard to go deep into this, like one-on-one, will you drop whatever contact info people should like find you? Because I know you have courses and training, and the whole thing's not about selling coaching. At the same time, if someone does want deeper resources, I would love for you to like say, hey, here's a good next step for you. Go watch this video, do this thing, or book a call with me, something like that. I'm giving you total permission to put that out there. Okay.
Happy to do that.
All right. Number 2.
Would be wonderful.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Number 2, your bridge analogy, and you said you're working on an image. Do you have a graphic artist that's helping you with that?
No, this is my next step. So I want to find someone.
I'm going to volunteer. We have an amazing graphic artist. His name is Rents, that has worked with me for 3 years. he is really good at taking entrepreneurs' crazy doodles, which is like on an airplane, I doodled this 7 steps thing that I've now used as a core of this whole other training course I use. And he made this amazing thing. We've tweaked it twice, but
Awesome.
I will have you work with Rents if you'd like. Happy to have you work with him. I'll just do it as a favor for you. And like Rents his brain is amazing for reconciling
Love that.
business ideas, analogies into like actionable single images. All right. And number 3, I don't remember what it was. I'm supposed to say thank you. I know where you're going once I jump off here. I wish I could stay because like I'm gonna go watch the recording. Like, do you guys get why I love Ryan now, though, the way he approaches this? And now we're gonna get into the details. Like Otto and Allison, you needed the framework, but now you can go a lot deeper. And Sam, hopefully that was helpful. You might want to go back and rewatch that recording again. So Ryan, thank you for being
Awesome. Appreciate it, man.
on, man.
Thanks.
All right, bye.
Much appreciated. All right. I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll open up for some questions. Take it any way you guys want. I'm here. I'll stick around and answer any questions you guys have.
Ladies first.
Okay, so I have several farms. They're townhouse complexes, and I live in one. And Jesse and I talked about it. I've been doing it like Otto on and off for years, but now I'm consistent. You know, things happen. You get a little ego, and I don't need to anymore. And literally, when I sit in an open house at one of my listings, I'm a celebrity. Like people come visit me. It's really super fun. But so now what I'm doing is I'm walking my dog a couple times a day, and not all my farms are in this area. And I'm dropping newsletters once a month, and I'm trying to be concise with my budget. Is there something else I can do that's fairly budget friendly?
Sure.
For a second touch?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I'll ask some questions that'll help give me direction on it. You mentioned you're doing newsletters. Are you doing hard copy or digital newsletters?
Hard copy. I'm actually walking them out, and people and I do it between like 3 and 5 because that's when most people are, coming home, taking their trash out, and I actually do speak with people.
Okay, perfect. Now, the next question is: are you doing that to everyone, or are you doing it to people that have signed up for it?
Everyone. I do have maps because I've had people that have cussed at me to take my fucking shit and shove it up my ass and stuff like that. They're super, super fun neighbors.
Okay. So one of the things I'm a big believer in is I don't like to spend my money and time on people that don't want to hear from me. And this is why I'm a big believer in getting people to put their hand up and give the people who want to hear from you the love and attention. So one of the things that I'm a big believer in is permission-based marketing. And if you understand the permission side of it, it makes things a lot easier. And if you're just giving it to everyone, there's less value in it. There's less perceived value when that you're just handing it out to them. When people ask for something, they want more of it because they've asked for it and that you're putting their hand up. So one of the things I would, if you don't have to, but one of the things I'm a big believer in is putting more love and attention and time and resources into people that want to hear from you. That cuts your budget down. That now allows you to focus on the people that you can build relationships with and focus on that. So that's a small tweak if you did that. One of the big things I'm a huge believer in is events and you can do very affordable, easy to run events. We do a community garage sale. It's one of the easiest and best things you can do because all the work is just promoting it, which in return, it creates value for everyone else, but it gets your name out there. So we do a community garage sale. This will be our 4th year this year. And we have, I think the first year we did it, we had like 25 people participate. We had 32 people last year. I think we had like 60 people, close to, it was like 50 plus people that participated this year. And it's a amazing event because they do it on their driveway. So we're not hosting it at a place. We're not bringing tables. We're not doing that. All we do is we go around and collectively get people to participate. We ask for a minimum donation. I think it's like $10. That money goes to a cause and we help support a local community cause. And then they basically get to have their garage sale, and then we just promote the heck out of it. And the great thing is they're happy that because they wanted to do it, but now we're creating even more buzz around it. It positions us as that community ambassador. It helps us stand out in the community, and it literally costs next to nothing. It's flyers and things like that. This last year, we ended up getting some signs for our open house sign frames because we do this regularly now. So it just says community garage sale. And then we have an arrow sign. It looks kind of like an open house sign with our branding on it. So that helps us stand out even more. And that alone has been amazing. Like last year we did it. Nikki got 2 listing appointments just from the community garage sale. It was awesome.
Oh, because people are downsizing to move.
That's exactly. You're getting in their mind. That's why we did it that way. We're getting people who are thinking about that. Another one that we do is a food drive. So this is our 3rd year doing a food drive as well. So we did the first year, it was kind of just a test experiment. We literally just printed some stuff on white sheet of paper. We did like half and half and printed it off. We got, I think it was like 30 people participate. We did it this year. This is our 3rd year. We ended up having 86 people or 88 people participate in it. Nikki and I both got bronchitis halfway through it. So we got about half as much as we were hoping to get. We probably would have got close to 160 participants in it. We ended up raising 1,200 pounds of food. We added 40 people to our database. We got touched on the other people that were in our database. The amazing thing with that is, again, there's very little cost. It gets us in front of the community. We're supporting the community cause. We have multiple touch points through it.
So, yeah, I used to do that and the logistics almost killed me. So I think that the systems I had, because I used to go get all the bags, 1,000 bags from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And then
that's what I was talking about earlier. Create simple systems. Literally, it's a porch pickup style. We say, leave it on your front porch. So listen, I'll give you the price.
So they'd have to text me because I was walking around looking for them with a cart.
So we sign up, and that's the big thing. Again, now we're adding people to our database. So we say, hey, we're doing a community garage sale on July 1st, and we're going to be collecting the food events. If you'd like to participate, let us know. So we get them to sign up. Now we get their name, their phone number, their email address. We get them to sign up. We say, we're going to be picking it up on this date between this time and this time. So please leave it out on your front porch, and we'll be picking it up. We'll send you a reminder email and a call just before the event, a day or two before the event. We'll keep you posted, and we'll let you know after how everything went. So now we have their phone, email, their address, their names. We know who they are. We then show up the day of, and we usually do it in the evening between 5 and 8 o'clock. We have 2 kids, so between Nikki and myself and the 2 kids, it took us an hour and 40 minutes to do 80 homes. We had 1 vehicle. We jumped out, ran out, grabbed them. 2 vehicles, each an adult and a child in each vehicle. We ran out and collected them. There is the day of, there's some communication because people will be standing there and like, here you go, making sure you do it. Sometimes people may forget, so we'll knock on the door. But really, it's logistically, it's super easy. It's literally like you promote it, you show up the day of, collect it. The next day, we take it to the food bank, drop it off, take a big picture of it, showcase that, send it out to people, say, hey, thanks for participating. We raised this much food. Here's the photo of it. Then we use that in our social media. We share it in all our other stuff. And then we use that in our follow-up. And then we also connect with the food bank as well. And then we do a personal thank you card saying thank you for participating. That literally is the hardest work, is signing 80 thank you cards. So it's super simple.
Yeah, I did that. That was the easiest part. But so do you do that in October, like as you go towards Thanksgiving?
We did ours in November. So because we're Canadian, Thanksgiving is in November. So we do it before the holidays.
Thanksgiving is in November, but
ours is October. Sorry. So no, we did ours. Was it November? I can't remember. It's been a few months. We did it before Christmas, kind of.
So I could just add it to my newsletter.
Yep. And then that's exactly. And then it's how do you promote the heck out of it in all the other things, and that's where you start cross promoting. And that's one of the things I teach in my coaching and training is how do you layer your strategies so you're getting more out of it. And we do a community newsletter, but we do it on steroids when we layer in business interviews and different strategies, and you start tying it all together, and that's when you start to get real results. So that's a couple easy things that I think you could do that wouldn't take too much work. So we try to do a quarterly event. So each quarter we'll do something like that. So we've done food drive, the garage sale. We do skate night. We're doing a trivia night this year. So we're just trying to do things that are getting involved and bring value. So hopefully that gives you a direction. Mm-hmm. I'll jump over to Otto and then answer your questions too. And then Sam, how you help.
Thank you.
Hey Ryan, so how many homes are in your farm?
So we have, I'll be blunt. We have our town, which we farm because we're in a small town, and then we have a neighborhood where we really focus our attention on. So there's 2 kind of key pockets. So in our main focus is 1,100 homes, and then there's about 800 homes in another one that we're branching into. When I started my farm a number of years ago, before we moved, there was 3,600 homes, but we have just shy of 2,000 homes in the area that we focus on, and then our town kind of as a whole, we farm in it.
And from your farming, how many listings do you normally do a year from your farming? to those two specifics?
So Nikki's just relaunching into it. She had a blew out her knee last year. So we're on track where our goal from the farm will be probably 1,100 homes. Like she's on track to do about 20 plus deals. So probably about 12 of them will be from the farm. So it's a decent number. She's got two listings coming up right now going on. So we're aiming for about that. Our market's been really slow. I don't know where your market is or what it's like, but we're down, sales are down like 40%.
I'm in Medicine, California, and my farm was about 3,300 homes.
Okay.
I usually list maybe 2 a month there.
Okay, good.
But I like I said, I want to be the dominant agent in that specific farm. Let me ask you a question. So I lived at that farm for 18 years.
Yep.
I have a car problem, so I moved out of that farm, and I live probably about 5 miles away now.
Yep.
Is it okay to still hit that farm even though I don't live in it?
I've never lived in the farm that I farmed. So
Okay.
100%. Your approach will be slightly different, but yeah, I will say that a lot of agents, if anyone's watching us on the replay as well, that a lot of agents choose a farm because they live in it, and that doesn't mean that's the best place to farm. It might be a strat or an approach or a reason you're choosing it, but it shouldn't be the number one reason. And if it is the only reason you're choosing a farm, you may want to make sure you're looking at all the other factors when you're doing it, but you definitely don't have to live in your farm. I've never lived in the farm.
Okay. And are you able to share with us basically what, when you say marketing and, the just did not, they no longer work. What is working in today's world to get those people to engage with you?
So getting permission up front and having permission to follow up with them is number one. Then what used to work was blasting people with a message and just shoving it down their throat. And that's what agents have always been taught, which is just repetition, get your name out there enough times that people remember you. It's not about getting your name out there. It's about getting people's names into you and creating those relationships. So the key is, how do I get those people to put their hand up so that I can follow up with them and then create the relationship with them that way? So you have to have that. So there's a lot of different ways. One of the things that I'll kind of give you my kind of core foundation of what I believe around it, and then I'll give you some strategies around that. So my belief firmly is what I call CPR. It's the foundation of what I think real farming is about, which is community, positioning, and relationships. And I've studied hundreds of agents. I've interviewed hundreds of agents on my podcast. I've spoke to thousands of agents all across. And what I noticed was there were some real trends and serious consistencies. The agents who are community focused outbeat the agents who are transactionally focused by and far. So the number one thing I would say is number one thing is start focusing on the community itself and how do I bring value to the community rather than just be the real estate guy who sells real estate and I sell homes. It's how do you put the community first. The next part is positioning. So how do you position yourself as the expert, an ambassador, and how do you get in front of people consistently? So that's a mistake where a lot of agents make, is they position themselves as number one real estate agent, and even though they're not, or they may not be. It's great, but if you're trying to get started, if you don't position yourself effectively, you miss a lot of opportunities. So one of the things that we did was we branded ourselves around the community itself. So we were the Orchard Real Estate team rather than the Ryan Smith Real Estate team. It was about the community we served. Then we became the community ambassadors. We knew about the events. We knew about what was happening in the community. We were able to provide value to the community itself, and we were community focused. That absolutely allows you to stand out and create massive impact. Then it's, how do I get in front of people consistently that isn't annoying, that is allowing you to stay consistent with them and create value long term. One of the things that we teach, which is in my program, is the neighborhood report, which is what we did in our farm, which is how we got the transactions that we did in that farm that I mentioned. And it was getting people to put their name up and then creating value with them long term. Then it's, how do you stay and build relationships with them? How do you create new relationships, and how do you strengthen the ones you have? That's kind of the holistic view of it. Now, if you get down to tactical strategies, you need a way to communicate with them on a consistent basis. You need a way to create value for them consistently, and you need a way to show that you're different. Then it comes down to, how do you customize those strategies to match your market and your business? I would say first, it's going to depend on who your market is, what's important to them. One of the things that I strongly recommend doing, and one of the things we teach, is doing a community survey. So it's a great opportunity because now you're getting in front of people, you're showing that you're different, and you're going to find out what's important to them. So I would do door knocking if you can, and knock the neighborhood and find out who to what businesses do people support? What organizations do people support? What things would they like to see in the community? What things they like about the community? What things would they want someone to know about? What attracted them to that community? Now you can start creating content around those things. Now you can start creating some solutions around those. And now you can create some systems and processes around that. As far as actual tactical things, there's a million, and I could share all different types. For us, it really is about having a community element of it. So we do community events. That's a big one, which is huge. Having a way to follow up with them consistently, which is our community newsletter. That's the huge way to stay in touch with them. I would recommend doing local business interviews, because now it ties you to the businesses themselves and the community. And now you can leverage those videos to get in front of a massive audience quicker. And then having some value adds long term. So you kind of use like lead magnets or some value adds that you can drip into it. Then you can start layering in other strategies. But those are kind of key foundational ones. There's a million ways. I'll ask you, what have you done that's worked? And then what have you done that's maybe not working now?
So this ain't a promoting thing, but I just moved companies. So it's this past week and a half has been just crazy, right? I just recreated my newsletter that I'm sending out. I would love for you to see it. And once again, I'm married, 4 kids and 2 dogs that don't listen, so you could never hurt my feelings. I sent that out. Well, I used to. So I'm going to start being consistent. It does have the just sold. It gives market statistics. And I've gotten literally 4 phone calls within 2 weeks of come list me. Yep. But I want to do more. I don't have a problem sharing it, with everybody else. I don't know. I'm not technology driven. I'm not driven, but, anyways, I want to be able to provide more value because people know my name in the community.
Yep.
But a lot of people are using outside agents, which to me means probably lower commissions, or they're just not finding enough value in calling me.
And that's where I think it is. So how honest would you like me to be with you?
Super honest.
Okay. So you mentioned something. You said they know your name. So I'm going to ask you is, do you know their name?
No.
There's your problem. Number one, like if you take away anything, is if you don't know their names, they're not going to work with you. This is where it comes down to that relationship. This is why pushing your message out there does not work the same as creating a relationship with someone. And if you don't know their names, they're not going to work with you, because if you don't know them, they don't care about you either. So this is why why we focus on how do we get them to put their hand up, so we know who they are, that we can follow up with them, we can communicate with them, we can create value with them, we can. I'm not saying relationship like we're gonna go out and have drinks every night with them, but it's if you don't know their names, you're a fly on the wall to them. So I would say biggest piece, just knowing from what I can tell so far, is you don't know them, so they don't care about you, and that's where you're gonna want to shift from getting your name out there to getting their name into you, so that you can follow up and create real impact with them.
If I were to be starting a farm to be the Ryan Smith of Menifee, California, is there anything that you can share with us, like what you guys do? Basically, if you have like, okay, this is how you start. You're first going to send this material, just put your name on it. Do you have like a guide that you can share with us?
I have a program, and I'm not here to pitch my program. So Sam, let me just answer Sam's question, because he wants to ask questions. If you want to connect with me, if you can, on Facebook is the easiest place to connect with me. If you go to local expert account, or the expert agent, you can find me on Facebook there. I have a Facebook group. Connect with me on Facebook. I'm easy to find. If you type in Launch Your Farm anywhere, you'll find me. I have some programs and courses I can help you with. If there's some ideas, Sam, if you want to jump on a call, we can do that as well. We can book a growth call. I'll throw that in there if you guys want to book a call. I'll just show the link in there 1 second, and then I'll get back to your question, Otto, for a second. So it's thefarmgrowthplan.com. You can book a call with me, and we'll go through that and kind of give you a breakdown of what's going on. So happy to do that. So happy to connect, Sam. Hopefully that helps. Otto, yeah, to go back to that. So this is where I developed the academy, which is my program. I don't want to sit here and preach at you on the training. That is what we do in that whole program. We go through the different phases. We go through getting set up. How do you get your farm set up? How do you build the brand around the farm? How do you create that message? And then we have my local, the hyperlocal domination, which is my signature program, which is kind of the core foundation. And then we start layering all the different strategies that we apply to that. As far as getting it set up, the key is that, like I mentioned, that launch phase, using that bridge analogy. When you have the launch, you have to know, who am I going after? Having that nailed, making sure that is right, the mindset and the message. For it sounds like for you, the message is not resonating. And that might be, it's either the message or the methods. If you have your farm, you've got the right idea, it sounds like you're committed, it sounds like you got the right mindset around it. You may need some tweaks around the mindset of getting people into you rather than getting your name out there. Then it's how do you tweak the message part of it? And it sounds like that might be where you're losing people on the messaging or the strategies that you're actually doing to generate business. That might be the part that you're falling short on. And that's, I'd say, where, again, I haven't took a deep dive on your business, but that is probably where there's a good opportunity for you to fix.
So basically getting the message out there in community events.
And having your mindset around what it should be about. It's about getting the relationship side of it. And then that will then change the methods that you do, because then it is events. It's not just events though. It's getting your name to getting out there as that community ambassador and positioning yourself as that expert in the community, and not just telling people you're the best or telling people who you are.
Okay.
That makes sense? And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm not to me, this business is not a one size fits all business. And this is the good thing. And the bad thing is that there are, I won't say names of trainers, but they're like, this is the only way to do it. If you don't do this, you're an idiot. If this is the script you have to use, and it's like, I don't believe that. There's a million different ways to do this business. There's different personality types. There's different skill sets. There's different levels of experience. It's figuring out where you're at and going, oh, what do I need to add to that? And that's part of why I developed the bridge blueprint, to say, okay, how do we dissect what are those main things that we know are there? And then how do we apply our own personal approaches or strategies and skills to that, and figuring out what that looks like.
What do you do every time you take a listing in your farm?
So now Nikki does the more day-to-day, and I'm not going to throw her under the bus. She could be doing a lot more working the farm itself, but absolutely. We used to do a very solid, like my business partner, Andrew, and I would have a whole solid plan. Open houses is big around it, but we do a lot more effective open houses than just general slapping up a sign and hoping something happens. We do postcards around that, but we blast it out to our database, which is big. We have our newsletter that goes out to, we are big in community Facebook groups. We got online postings that we posted on. It's getting out there as much as possible as well. And then working that side of it. I'm a big believer in what I call reverse prospecting. We talk about in the academy as well, where it's taking leads that you have and generating more leads off of that and leveraging those leads to generate more business. So I use an example. I had a buyer lead that I got from a borrowed listing, which is one of the things I teach, is how do you get listings to borrow, to advertise, to get more attraction. And we got a borrowed listing lead that came from that. It was a buyer that came into it. We then put that out there to our database. We ended up getting 4 listing appointments from that. We listed 2 out of the 4. 2 of them, one went for sale by owner, 1 didn't sell. From those 2 listings, we ended up getting another transaction. And then we had the buyer bought and sold me. It ended up being like 7 transactions that came from a leveraged lead. So leveraging the leads as much as you can is going to help you get even more reach into the farm as well.
Are you able to share with us an example of the newsletter that you send out every month in some type of marketing?
I don't. That's kind of my proprietary thing. I can tell you what's in it and what kind of things we have in it and what it looks like. I will say the first thing is it's not about real estate. There are real estate elements in there, but it's community focused. And this is the big part of where a lot of agents make that mistake, is they make it about them and they make it about real estate. And the majority of people are not going to move. So when you're just blasting real estate information in there, most people tune out. They don't care. So we share updates, community updates, things that are going on in the community. So we'll have like events that are going on. Nikki does a little section that says, here's what's happening in the community. We do some promotions. We do giveaways. So we'll do contests and giveaways. We'll do our business interview spotlight. We share stories. We have tips about things going on seasonally that are going on. We have highlights of things that are happening. We'll do like interest rate updates of things that are happening each month. We have the interest rates of what's going on, and peppered in there are calls to action for people to put their hand up. So peppered in there are real estate things. So you may say, hey, we got this free report, we've got this guide, we've got this information. Do you want it? And we get people to put their hand up. And those are the things that get people to put their hand up when they're ready. And we get that literally this morning. We just got a lead from someone. Nick has an appointment tomorrow, book with them. And he was in our report and he's getting a divorce. His wife's leaving him. He just said, okay, I'm ready. And he reached out to us. So,
but you can't share one of your newsletters so that he can physically see it.
It's a digital newsletter. We used to do a hard copy newsletter. I don't have them here. But yeah, it's more of what's in it. We develop them. That's part of the program that I have is the newsletters itself, and we do them for each month, and we give you all the custom side of it.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for your time, guys. I gotta hop up. I got another call in 6 minutes, but thank you so much for everything.
Awesome. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Allison as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your time. This was helpful.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Have any questions? Awesome. Let me know. Reach out. Happy to chat.
Okay. I will. Thank you. Bye.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.